What an incredible rally we have seen in crypto, and especially in Bitcoin. There is a positive trend within an overarching bullish trend. The question is, how much longer will this current rally last? We are not just going to draw imaginary lines on charts. We are also going to look at approaches that historically worked very well for Bitcoin. Now, this overarching trend has been established roughly 1 year ago. The smaller trend within that runs for the last 2 months. And this is the rally we have just seen in the last 24 hours. Now, the problem with approaches like this is that we can't really prove that they work. There's no real test we can do for drawing lines on charts. I still like to do it every now and then because I do not think that it's a coincidence that those tops align quite nicely, that those bottoms align quite nicely, and that those lines are perfectly parallel to one another. So I think there is at least some kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy effect. If enough people draw similar lines, then there's a higher chance that there's increased selling at those higher levels and potentially more buying at the lower levels. So it's not really science, it's rather just trying to play the psychology. But let's get into data. Because if you've been following this channel for a while, you know that I like to use moving averages. Following the trend in Bitcoin tends to work pretty well. And I've run backtests trying to figure out how well does moving average trading work. And on average, it does perform better compared to just buying and holding. Buying and holding is the line in black. On the y-axis, we've got the annualized performance, and the very best moving average for Bitcoin is the 44-day. If we trade according to that moving average, we get performance that's indicated by this line here in turquoise, versus buying and holding is just a line here in white. Note that this is a logarithmic chart, right? So this is 10x's with each horizontal step. And so we are betting on rising prices whenever we are above the moving average. We bet on falling prices whenever we are below the moving average. We are long, so we bet on rising prices since beginning of the year. And there's even a copy trading pool to automate following that strategy. And of course, we made quite a bit of money with that. And so are we simply now going back to all-time highs since we are already above the moving average? Unfortunately, it's not that simple. Yes, there is a higher likelihood that we rather go up than down from here. However, if we look at this chart in a bit more detail, there's actually 2 approaches that worked well. It's not just the 44-day simple moving average, it's also the 125-day simple moving average. It didn't do as well as the 44-day, but it still did quite well. And if we plot that moving average, that's now the line in turquoise, we are unfortunately not yet bullish. The 125-day SMA is currently at 101K. And interestingly enough, that's also very close to where our potential resistance here lies. So we've got a resistance based on those trend lines, and we've got the same kind of resistance based on one of our best moving averages. So really, the 100K mark is the level to closely watch. Now, in theory, it's very much possible that we go beyond the 100K. I do think the likelihood is high that we reach at least 100K. Are we going beyond that? That very much depends on the narrative. That very much depends on whether or not money still flows from traditional finance into crypto at that point. Because for a long-term bullish trend, we need to see more capital flowing into the market. And unfortunately, the growth of stablecoins in the last 3 months has been extremely low. We've seen 0.86% again over 3 months roughly. That's the stablecoin market cap relative to the US money supply. And usually during a bull market, the stablecoin market cap tends to expand much quicker. The slowest it expanded during that bull market over the course of 3 months was 6%. The fastest was 32%. Currently, we are just going sideways. And that's the problem. We need to see new money flowing in. This channel isn't for everyone. It's for people that prefer data over simple hype. So if that's you, then feel free to subscribe over here. I publish videos regularly. But there is a case to be made that we go beyond 100K and potentially even reach an all-time high. Because right now, a lot of money is still on the sidelines. So traditional finance deposited into the crypto ecosystem has all of those stable coins laying around. Those stable coins are not yet deployed into risk on assets yet. This is the stablecoin dominance here at the top. How much of all of crypto is currently in stablecoins? When the stablecoins get deployed, when the stablecoin dominance goes down to 5%, that's then when crypto prices will go up. What we see here at the bottom, that's the Bitcoin price. So note how the Bitcoin price is high when the stablecoin dominance is low, when a lot of stablecoins have already been deployed, and how the Bitcoin price tends to be low when the stablecoin dominance is high. That's when the market is very fearful, when there's a lot of dry powder on the side, when not a lot of capital is deployed. Currently, we still have a lot of dry powder on the side, and that justifies a case to go beyond the 100K. But again, we need to get some kind of narrative. Ideally, we start to see money flowing into the space again as well. The only reason why we've been able to bounce from the 85K bottom was because the long-term holders stopped selling. They started selling at 110K, they continued selling until we hit 125K. They sold more and more and more, and then at 85K they stopped selling. And that's then when the price was able to recover. And so if the long-term holders now don't just stop selling, but potentially buy, that would be great. Here is the long-term holder spending. It's not great when they sell, and that started again at 110K roughly. And now at least the selling has stopped. They are not yet buying. If we suddenly saw buying, that would be great, right? The long-term holders tend to pick quite nice bottoms for purchases, and subsequently we see rallies. We don't yet have any buying activity. At least we don't have any selling activity either right now. So really what's currently fueling this bottom formation is short-term holders jumping in. But that short-term holder buying might dry up quite quickly because we are now very close already to the short-term holder cost basis. And once short-term holders are in profit, they might consider taking some of that profit. It looks like over time, the short-term holders also become more and more risk averse. They tend to take profit earlier. They also tend to cut losses earlier. Because have a look at the market value to realized value score for the short-term holders. It looks like the tops get lower and lower, and so do the bottoms. And we oscillate around that cost basis. And yes, we could go a bit higher, but the purchases are probably not going to be as aggressive in the next days as they have been last week. So I think it's very likely we will hit the 100K. What will happen afterwards? Are we going to see another sell-off, potentially by the long-term holders? Very much possible. If we want to get beyond the 100K mark, we have to see the long-term holders getting engaged again, or at least see some money flowing into the ecosystem by traditional finance. The stablecoin market cap should go up faster. Yes, there is a lot of money on the sidelines, but we do need to get a reason to deploy that capital. If we get that reason, again, Bitcoin can very easily hit new all-time highs. And such a rally would, of course, also support the altcoins. If you're interested in investing your capital in strategies like this, because while this is just a simulation of buying and selling, we now also get the real returns coming in. Feel free to check out the premium membership. A link to premium pops up here on the screen. Just click on that. It will lead you to the website. Thanks again for watching. See you next time on YouTube or see you on premium. Cheers.